Today we are both wearing white.
I know, look at that. Looks good, man. I like the Sundara shirt.
Thank you. It's
How was that? How was that festival?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was the best experience of my life until I go next year.
And was it the splashing around in the swimming pool with 2,000 people, or?
Well, it was that, and it was an all-inclusive festival. Meaning
Oh yeah.
The tacos were free, the buffet was free, the soda was free.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. Well, one question that I do have is, well, that was a really poor transition. I was gonna say. Well, one question I have is, should I pay off credit card or save? Well, thinking about Sundara, put it on credit card because what was really interesting about this is that you could only buy it in packages. So you can only buy it. You had to have a group of 4.
Okay.
So they were you couldn't buy individual tickets.
Yeah, right.
You had to buy it in 4. And conversation came up for me. Definitely was like, okay, how do I save for this? But then also knowing that I'm going to need to put it on credit card,
Right.
Because it was a substantial enough amount that I would get credit card perks.
So did you buy 4 tickets and then recruit 3 people to go with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But it had to go on credit card because,
Right.
and then I needed to get Venmo payments from other people.
Yes.
But the conversation was like, oh, this is a bigger purchase. Like, I definitely want the points, but then I also got to save for this.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which leads, it's a good segue because it leads to today's topic.
Thank you.
People have been asking, should I pay off my credit card or should I save money?
Mm-hmm.
And we have some things to think about and some mathematical equations of sorts for you to ponder to decide what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start here. And we'll use your example
Sure.
for now. So what led to the debt itself was wanting to buy or having to buy tickets, but buy en masse.
Yep.
And it was a larger purchase, so you
Yep.
probably didn't have the cash sitting on the sidelines.
Correct.
So you made that purchase.
Yep.
And then you were collecting money from other people.
Yes.
So one of the things you had to do was take that money from others and apply it to that
Apply it to the credit card.
credit card debt.
Yep.
Yep. So this leads me to the question for explorers who are listening or watching, which is, what did the credit card debt come from originally?
Came from not having the sufficient funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to be able to pay it off all in one sweep.
Yep.
With a debit card.
So for those who are listening, if they have credit card debt, the logic or our rationale is that you probably have it because you either had more expenses than you had income, or you had an unforeseen expense, or you put money towards a vacation as an example and didn't have the money to pay for it yet.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and even to reference a previous episode, there was an aspect of not being able to delay gratification because there was a fear that this was the first time it's happening. There's a limited amount of tickets, so I have to get it now versus save for it and buy it in like 2 months.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just total sidebar, but why did you not wait till someone else bought the tickets and invited you?
Well, we had it was a package of 4. And it was one of those conversations where it was like, okay, I'll be the one to manage everything. I'll manage all the emails, I'll manage all the travel logistics, etc.
Gotcha.
And then, quite frankly, part of it was like, I wanted the credit card points, knowing that they'll pay me.
Yeah.
And the people that I was going with were like good for their money. So it's not like I needed to worry about accounts receivable.
So this was not speculative at all.
Correct.
You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So back to the matter at hand. If you have credit card debt and you are questioning, should I save money? Should I be putting money into savings, or should I blast away that debt? There are a few questions that I have. First off, do you have consistent income? So if someone if they have inconsistent income, meaning money comes in, money doesn't, your job is more variable than it is consistent, then I would question whether or not you are going to put more money on your credit card because those moments that it's inconsistent, you have expenses and it just goes right to plastic.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about here is your habits of spending.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So consistency of income, what else do you think is important?
Consistency of income, and then also, first of all, how much do you have in savings currently?
Okay.
Right? Because even going back to the variable income, it might be more important for you to put extra money that you have towards savings because you don't know when you get the next paycheck.
Right.
And you want to be able to have that security, if you were, that little egg that you have to be able to get you through any hard times or business doesn't come through or whatever the case is.
Yep.
But the second question is how much money do you have in savings currently?
Yep.
We've referenced in a previous episode how much you need to feel secure and safe. So if you have 500 or 2,000 and you feel secure, then you can pay off credit card debt.
Right.
But if you don't have what you need to feel secure, then you might want to put it in the savings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was a study that was done by, I think it was either Money Magazine or USA, maybe the USA Today report. Anyway, it said that 68% of Americans do not have $500 in an emergency savings account in case of an emergency. So that if you needed $500 cash, 68% of the American populace wouldn't have it. So to Nick's point, if you don't have at least $500 saved in an emergency fund that's there for emergencies, in the case of an emergency, you'll more than likely go and put more money on plastic.
Yeah.
So the recommendation here is that if you're questioning, should I pay off my credit card debt or should I save, the very, very minimum you should have in a savings account is at least $500 to weather any kind of emergency storm. Yeah. Then the question goes to more of a math equation.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about that.
Sure. So let's see. The first thing that we'll go towards is so we'll do a classic example here. So let's just assume that someone has $5,000 in debt. Okay. So you have $5,000 on a credit card, and the credit card interest rate is 20%.
Yeah.
So over the course of a year, you would be paying $1,000 in interest. Okay. So
5,000 times 20%.
Yeah, 5,000 times 20%.
Yep.
Would be the $1,000 in interest. Now, that's how much you would be paying, in interest for the credit card side.
Yep.
Now, if we took another human being and they were saving $50 a month, over the course of a year, that's $600.
Right.
So if we took those two people, or if we took the same person, they could either, not pay off their credit cards and accumulate and need to pay $1,000 in credit card interest.
Yep.
Or they could have saved money of $600 worth.
Right.
So if you look at the difference, there's actually a $400 deficit, and you'd be paying more on the interest than you would saving. So even if you were saving, you'd still be $400 short of what you actually need to shell out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in that example, what I hear is the need to look at your APR, what your annual percentage rate is on your credit card, and then multiply that times your balance to figure out how much you're actually paying in interest.
Yep.
What I find from many people when we have this discussion is that they're looking at what's my minimum payment. So if I'm sending $90 a month to my credit card, they don't realize that $83.33 of that goes to interest every month, and only $6.67, the remaining $6.67 goes to principal. So they're not getting anywhere on their credit card debt. They're just thinking in terms of payment. They're not thinking of how much am I actually spending in interest.
Yeah.
And that's the really critical piece here is, if you've got a credit card, a difference between a 20% interest rate and a 5% interest rate is drastic when we talk about paying it off and being able to save money over time. So this is a good equation. If you're calculating how much could you send in additional payments to your credit card, if you look at how much would that add up to over 12 months in savings versus how much can I pay off in a month and how much will it save me in interest, one is going to be much greater than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So
that's a challenge, actually.
It is a challenge. Is that the challenge?
That is a challenge.
Oh, good.
Yes, to really calculate the debt and the percentage of interest that you'd be paying on a monthly basis, and then multiplying that by 12 to get the annual, and then compare that to how much you could be saving. The example that I like to use is what the average credit card interest rate is.
I'm gonna guess 18, but
it's higher. Yeah, I want to say it's 23 actually.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but anywhere between 16 and 25, right?
Crazy high.
Yeah, is the amount of interest you'd be paying on a credit card, and then if you look at the Standard & Poor S&P investing index over a 40-year period, yielding about 9%, right? So. Yeah. And then with inflation, maybe less, right? So essentially, you could be saving and investing money earning 9%, or you could be quote unquote losing money at a 16 to 25% rate. So I would, in my opinion, I would much rather get rid of the debt, especially if I have the funds to be able to do it and I have consistent income. and I have at least $500 in a savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a order of operations here.
Totally.
But it really is depending on what your situation is, how much debt you have.
The language I use around it too, Nick, is that it depends on how much of your money you own, how much of your income you actually own. In this example, $5,000 in debt at 20% means there is $1,000 of your money that you don't own, right? Your income comes in every year. Just take $1,000 off the top. The bank owns that money because they're making that an interest. So I'm with you. I think blasting away credit card debt is the best bet, but I would recommend having at least a savings account in place for emergencies.
I agree.
Cool?
Cool.
Awesome. On tomorrow's show, upcoming is what?
Tomorrow we are talking about how much you should spend on an engagement ring.
$32. This will be a fun discussion. Join us tomorrow, particularly if you're about to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. See you then.